It's Nomsa here at Ngosi Talk Shows, Find Your Own Voice, Lead from Within. With me today, I've got Claudia Pasa, Dr. Biggett, Carol Ann Cooper. Carol Ann, you chose this topic, why feeling bad for yourself never works, and embrace your journey. Could you please explain to our audience why you choose this topic and why you feel the audience should embrace their journey?
Yes, I chose this topic because I keep going into sort of slumps of feeling bad for myself. And I realize it doesn't work because it holds you in a negative space. It stops you from moving on. And if you start to embrace your journey and start looking around you, becoming present, start moving, things can shift. So I thought it'd be, and especially, since we've come out of lockdown, we've come out of these last 3 years, but I think there's still things are happening for people. It knocks you sideways, and there's a way of this taking control of your life. So it's like, why can feeling bad for yourself suddenly become a way of life and it just controls you, as opposed to you being able to embrace your journey and move forward? So I just thought, wow, what a great exploration and a great conversation we could have. So I'm intrigued to see what other people think and about the topic, and where it's going to take us. You're muted, Nomsa.
What do you think, Claudia?
Yeah, absolutely. I think all of us can talk out of experience and give examples as well to share with each other. It's just, the thing is as well, what I started to do as well. Obviously, change is always part of life, and it will always come up at some point, like in different areas as well. And we, most of us as well, maybe we don't like change as well, or depending what type of changes it is, and we feel a bit resistant, So this is something as well I learned to understand, that everything is constantly changing, just as well looking outside at the seasons. It's wintertime right now in the UK, and soon it's going into spring and summer. It's like basically this circle and cycle as well of change, and to go as well with it, even though we don't want it and we feel resistance. And the resistance as well can sometimes be as well like a good opportunity to go and to listen to this voice of why we feel like resistant to some particular area or situation or change coming up in as well in our life. And usually if we pay attention, this little voice is actually it's just wants to keep you as well like safe and protected. And if we can understand this, coming to this conclusion that this part of us is there to protect us and wants to keep us safe, it's basically as well the job of this part of us, so certain things to understand, and then it's easy as well for us to go with the flow, with the change, and not to feel bad as well for us when something doesn't go along as well according to plan, because as well things happen actually for us and not to us. If we as well can understand this, to ask ourselves, how can this actually happen for me instead of to me? Just by changing the question, we can already start to come up with some ideas and some views around some specific topics, that we don't really have to go into this feeling bad situation or feeling as well about us. So just like a few things to throw in at the beginning. Dr. Birgit, what's your experience for yourself here?
I don't know what you're talking about feeling bad for yourself. I never feel bad for myself. I mean, I'm just so awesome. I'm just kidding.
Love it. Love it.
There are people who actually doing that and believing at the same time that they are. You might have experienced as coach. They kind of like, and I work with people who has been impacted by grief, whether as a grief specialist, and it could be one of the 4 major grief, like a passing of a loved one, but sometimes it's one of the other 40 less known grief. And some people, it's very interesting where they sit there, they feel bad about themselves, like you both just says, and then at the same time, they don't realize that. And that's really even, so if you're, the reason I say that just now is, some of us, we feel bad about ourselves, but we are in such a mind's not our mind is looking at things in such a way that we didn't even realize that we're feeling bad about ourselves. And so if you hear this, which is some of the way my client, and it's not making anybody correct or incorrect, it just sometimes this is how it shows up. If we're like, no, I don't feel bad about myself, and I never feel bad. It's just this and that, and then everything's outside of you. But whatever your situation, you're stuck in it, then perhaps just consider or be willing to consider is the way I typically put it. Be willing to consider, is there something in there that you actually unconsciously feeling bad about yourself? And then that's why the way you see things making you not moving forward. And as harsh as it sounds, like you just say, Claudia and Carolyn, it is something where at the end of the day, you have the choice on whatever outcome that you create. And that this might make some people angry, particularly if whatever that make you feel bad is something tragic. So let's say it's a loss, or a significant loss, or a significant assault. It's very understandable to feel bad about ourselves. I'm using an example, somebody has been raped. Absolutely, you're going to say, how could you possibly say this happened for me? Are you flipping, kidding? I hear you. And at the same time, and I hear you. And I actually propose of one of those that, yes, you may feel bad for yourself. And you can also choose that you feel bad. And so there is, if you look at your keyboard, above the number 7, there's the symbol ampersand. And that ampersand is yes and. So feeling is feeling. As a grief specialist, I say feeling is always valid. But at the same time, your feelings valid if you feel bad about yourself, whatever that bad is, which first of all, there's no feeling words called bad. It's an umbrella term. So you want to specify, are you feeling sad or feeling angry or feeling discouraged? But if you feel bad, you feel bad. And you could feel bad and choose to do something about it. Or you could feel bad and you're stuck in it. But it's something that, yes, we do not want to only feel bad about ourselves. If you do feel bad, I hear you, my heart goes to you. And at the same time, as Claudia and Carolyn says, and this is gonna might sound hard, you have a choice to do something so you can start to feel less and less of whatever that bad is, to receive the correct help, and then to be able to move forward. Because otherwise you're going to kind of almost like saying, I'm drowning here, I'm drowning here, I'm drowning here. and then but you're not going to grab a rope or something that's a net somebody throws to you for whatever reason that you're not going to, and then you're going to keep drowning, and eventually you will drown instead of moving forward. So that's just in my my thought. And I was at the beginning, I came from one side of my family. It's this martyr complex. If you know, if you all have ever hear it, the martyr complex, where everything is like, oh my God. So I was a master in feeling bad and being a martyr at some earlier point in my life. What about you, Numsa? What's your thought on?
I need to learn to unmute myself. I actually agree with Carol Ann as well, saying life is a choice. We do have a choice in life, and Claudia said life is happening for us, not to us. I think that is the right thing to do. And also, Dr. Bigot, when you say we need to acknowledge those feelings and not to stay there for a very long time. I met my friend, he lost his dad a few months ago, just now, when I was like outside, and I said to him, how are you feeling? And he goes, I don't feel too good. So I said to him, have you thought about going for counseling? So he was like, yeah, I did, but I don't feel like my family have offered, I don't feel like going for counseling is gonna help. I said to him, you need to go for counseling, because, you know, losing a parent is the painful memories are the ones that, the love is the most thing that hurts. When you lose something that you love, it hurt the most. So I said to him, the memories that you had with your dad, they are the ones that are hurting. So you need to go and get help and talk about it, because when you talk to people, you're feeling bad that you cannot express your feelings, and sometimes you feel that you have to rush the grieving. So you need to go and do the process properly. So it was like, yeah, you make sense. I know he's going to listen, he's going to go anyway. So the way he was talking, I hope he does, because he feels bad, really, really bad. And it's not really, it doesn't help. You have to embrace the journey of life. The journey of life is not an easy journey, but we're finding ourselves. We have a choice to know that life is happening for us. For me, like when I'm going through something, I have to know that life is happening for me, not to me. I have to know that this is part of the journey that I have to go through, and I have to embrace every journey that every path that I take in my life, I embrace it. I'm not a feeling sorry person myself. I never used to do that, because when you play football, there's no time. Like, as when you are into sports, your mindset has to be different. You have to have a mindset of, even when you don't feel like it, you get up in the morning, you do the training. And even when life doesn't make sense, it will make sense there on the pitch when you're doing the training and just getting up in the morning and doing things. The mindset is completely different. So that's the mind that I have, that life is happening for me, not to me. You bring problems to me, I will not ignore them. I'll deal with them, but at the same time, I will embrace the journey. I have a choice to actually love myself. I have a choice to how I respond to whatever is happening in life. So I think, Claudia, you mentioned that we have this little voice that sometimes it criticizes us, or it holds us back. So I'm aware of those little voices. That's why I play music is so much, in a way that when that little voice comes, I'm like, no. Sometimes I think I talk to myself when I'm walking with the earphones. I think people think I'm on the phone. It's like telling that little voice off. Honestly, that's how I survive. And knowing that life is happening for me. And I know I have a choice to be the person that I want to be. When I come to Ngozi talk shows, I get excited because I get to be with Carol Ann, I get to be with Dr. Biget, I get to be with Claudia. I'm actually very, very close with you, Lord, all of you, because I know that it's just life is there. It's how I want to play with it. How do I play the game of life? I just let the life come to me, accept it, choose my fight, and choose whatever I choose. I just choose. So what do you think, Carol?
Absolutely. I love play with the game of life, because it is a game.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and it is how you play it, how you dance with it or not. It is your choice, as you know, has been said, and it never goes to plan. I say never. Well, sometimes it does, but very often it feels like it doesn't. And it's when it doesn't go to plan, that's when you can start feeling bad for yourself, and you can think, oh God, why has this happened? And exactly what you were saying, Claudia, it isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. And when you can make that mental shift, it helps you rise above it and find a way out. And even as you were saying, Dr. Brigitte, you know, yes, somebody's been raped. How can that possibly be, you know, something that's there for you to learn from or grow from? It is possible. I know that, having worked with a few people to help them forgive their perpetrators, for me to be able to forgive those that perpetrated, you know, to me, it helped me move on. I learned such a lot from it when I started looking at it in those terms, that it was something that happened for me, not to me. Because then being able to forgive, to learn the lessons, to understand, you know, wow, why has this happened for me? It helps you to grow. It helps you to then live your life and move forward. And it's this, as you can see, I keep going like this, it lifts you up rather than you're in this slump. When you're feeling bad for yourself, it's very self-destructive. It's very unhealthy. And you then start to exaggerate your misfortunes. And you go into that spiral of feeling hopeless and helpless. So I think it was nonsense. You need to break that cycle, and just shifting your mental attitude, your thoughts about it, has a huge impact on how you can then lift yourself up and move forward. Did we say it was easy? No, we didn't. And what it does is makes life easier when you can do that. Do you have to do it on your own? Have we told you to do it on your own? No. Reach out. We're here. We can support you. You know, or maybe there's someone else that you know. Do reach out and talk to somebody else, because actually it has been shown that it is socializing is what helps you. It's socialization and touch. Social exclusion is like an injury to the brain, whereas healthy socialization is an elixir. Apparently, and I know from being able to get out again and meet up with my friends and go to events where there's in-person events now, I feel like I'm alive again. Whereas having been shut away and staying in, I felt like the life has drained from me, and it has been hard. I have spiraled much more into this feeling bad for myself and then having to sort of lift myself out. But again, I've reached out. I've got people that I work with. We work together. got friends, we can talk and share and just lift. It is uplifting. So you don't have to do it by yourself. The key, and it was what Dr. Bajit was saying here, you can be completely submerged in it. You are so not aware that you're in this feeling bad for yourself. It comes out in your language, but because you're saying it all the time, you don't even hear it. So it's somebody else being able to hear it for you. And I love what you said, Dr. Bajit. Be willing to consider. Wow, that is a powerful statement. That's a powerful question and an exploration for you to go into, that maybe you are feeling bad for yourself. Maybe there's something you could listen to your language and move yourself out. And being aware is half the battle. Once you become aware of it, you can do something about it. And so it has also the fact that negative emotions have an addictive quality that actually trigger the reward centers in your brain. And that's the bizarre thing about it. So that's why it becomes a downward spiral, because you're constantly triggering those reward centers, which makes it, and it's an unhealthy reward. So one thing you can do is actually label the negative feelings, because that actually activates a different area of the brain and therefore lightens things. So something you can do is expand your vocabulary, become aware of what you're feeling and label it. Find another name for it, you know, and there's so many words that you could use. Yeah, all of a sudden I got silent. Vocabulary is key. Being able to label it, give it a voice, give it a word. What do you think, Claudia?
Yeah. Absolutely. Feeling, vocabulary, words. Just like as well, I would like, just like you to be aware when you're feeling bad or feeling low, what were the thoughts as well? You just said prior to that as well, the thoughts that led you to this feeling as well. So this all, what we are suggesting here, takes a bit of practice. It's like going to the gym and training the muscle as well, like all four of us had to spend some time as well to look inside and to do like some inner work, reflection as well, some understanding of us as well. And you can do this as well, absolutely. Just like spending time focusing as well on the thoughts as well. And the thing is too that feeling bad, obviously we spiral down sometimes, and that's okay too, because we chose actually here this existence of the full spectrum, okay, to feel happy, to feel low, to feel disappointed, hopeful, forgiveness, everything. So this is why we came here as well, to choose the full spectrum of all of this. It's part of the human experience and the emotions and the feelings. So well, to understand, like one of you two said as well, the game of life, you know, how to understand it, how to play it, and how to make it work as well for you, so that you can see as well that the things we encounter, there's always a learning in it. There's always a learning. And you mentioned as well forgiveness and feeling hopeful as well. And these are lessons too. Usually as well, down the line, when we tend to look back, and then we can understand what was the meaning or the learning in this particular situations. When we are stuck into the situations, sometimes we can't see right now what's going on and why me and why that's bad, you know. So the insight usually comes afterwards. But again, if you practice this, you will get better and better. at it. And as well, like the thing is as well that we are always a yes where we put our energy into it. So we are a yes for feeling hopeful, for feeling bad, for feeling good, bad, and everything. So everything we put the energy into it, we get more back. So this is as well an important thing to understand, because the universe is a bit like, okay, this is where she puts the feelings and the thoughts into it. Okay, I think she wants more of this, so let's give her more of that. So just like be again aware, feeling bad, absolutely, it happens, but then just like pick up the next better feeling forward, or do something which makes you feel a bit better, and like slowly climbing up the emotional ladder that you feel better again about yourself. And again, this takes practice, understanding, and we can all do this, and we can all get there as well. And sharing is always good as well. Yeah, right, Dr. Birgit? Just our little tips and tricks and experiences.
Yeah, it's always good to share. And for I just want to clarify for some of the audience, and sometimes this is helpful when you this is helpful in allowing us to see at ourselves on why we're feeling so-called bad. And like I mentioned earlier, and Carolyn says, if you said you feel bad, then specify what is it that you are feeling really, because bad, I teach grief class more than counseling, but in either case, when a client says, I feel bad, then I say, please specify to me what you're feeling, but what do you mean by bad? Because bad is an umbrella term. I can't help you if you choose to stay under an umbrella of feeling bad. But if you come to me, say, I'm anxious, I feel sad, I feel this, use an actual feeling word, then I can say, okay, you know what? I hear you, you are still working with this. For this moment, this is what you can do. So you feel a little lighter, you feel less angry, you feel whatever that they prefer to feel moment to moment, which is what another thing we teach. But also, so some people said, okay, so I feel bad, but I feel kind of like I can't get out from feeling bad. And like Caroline says, you get addictive to feeling bad. So addicted to feeling bad. And then and we use the word addicted. Sometimes it can make us feel guilty, but now we're feeling bad, and then we're feeling guilty about it. I feel bad. You feel bad about feeling bad, and it's turned into a cycle. And this is sometimes with grieving clients, this can happen. And so if that's what make you feel, just make sure, just know that it's not really your so-called fault either. If you get addicted to feeling bad, there are actually a few reasons you can get addicted to feeling bad. One is actually a biologic reason, a purely biologic thing, where when you feel bad about yourself, when you are being negative, so to say, it actually triggers your reward center in your brain, believe it or not. So you kind of like, yeah, I feel this. It's actually trigger your reward center in your brain, and that causes a soothing type of feeling. So when something happens, so I start this saying that if you feel bad, by all means, honor your feeling. When something happens and you feel bad, that's a human survival mechanism. And that is something where your body said, "Ooh, something happened, let's soothe you right away." By you feeling that, trigger the brain mechanism, you feel soothed. And when you feel soothed, now nature designed such that you, when it suits you first, and then you said, okay, I'm not as shocked now, I'm a little bit soothed, and you meant to move forward. But you could get, like everything else that we have a reward system, you could get into this cycle of, well, instead of taking actions to move forward, I'm just going to sit here and soothe myself by feeling bad. That's when one of the reasons you could be addicted to the negative emotion, to feeling bad or negative emotions. The second reason is humans are habitual creatures. We love being changed, and the late Bob Proctor, who is a personal development guru, has the very well-known phrase of, you feel comfortable in the discomfort. Some people are very quick to choose to feel comfortable in the discomfort instead of creating more change, because change is scary. If you think about our forefather, who's really not that long ago, if we really think about it in comparisons to evolution of universe, changes back in the day when you were in the cave, when they were in the cave, change often means death. So change is scary. Our limbic system still resists this change. So it's kind of a little bit of a biologic thing as well to not want to change. And if you're already feeling bad and your situation happen, you might as well stay there than creating more change, right? And then the third thing that many people often forget, even as many people teaches their coaching clients or their therapy clients, is the hidden benefit. Sometimes, many times, as you continue in that, there might be a hidden benefit. And this is the sneakiest one and often the one that make people trap. The hidden benefit of feeling bad. And as strange as it sounds, there might be, oh, because I feel bad, then I have an excuse to not take this action that make me have to change. And or because I feel bad, then, well, you know, it's kind of like sometimes the children that they would love attentions, and then they realize, oh, if they are sick, if they got a flu or something and they're not feeling good, then mommy and daddy let them have ice cream all they want, and then they continue to not necessarily acting sick, but they kind of like, okay, well, I'm still not better. I still need more ice cream. I'm still need more ice cream. So the hidden benefit of feeling bad, everybody is different, but please don't take this as an offense, that for many, many people, there is a hidden benefit of feeling bad. And that's the sneakiest one, because that will hold you back. Why would you let go the hidden benefit? And when you become aware about that, of one of those three things, then it will be a lot easier for you to say, okay, so this is what I'm doing. First, might be, okay, I'm normal. I just didn't realize that's my body doing things, but the body is also not designed yet to, our body has not catch up with the evolutions of technology and everything. So our body still operates in the 5 million year back, while everything else has moved forward. So that's something that just ask yourself, if you have been feeling bad, and is there a possibility of you being addicted? Not in a bad way. Addictions usually triggered by something else, but addicted by that. And what of the three reasons, maybe one, maybe more, or maybe something else that might you be make you stay in feeling bad? Not in a way that to blame yourself, but in a way that to bring light of an awareness to allow you, if you choose to move forward. What's your thought, Nimsa?
Is she muted again? Are you muted, Nimsa?
What's happening with Dr. Biget's audio?
So no, it's good on my end.
Okay. I actually agree with all of you guys and Dr. Biget saying it. Sometimes people could be actually addicted to problems, and sometimes there could be a hidden something that is holding us back. We have to actually we have to do some cutting codes. You have to cut the codes. And some people, they, like myself, my experience when it comes to holding myself back, I know there were times where I've held myself back with the different things in life. And if I knew what I knew now, then I would have taken action and actually listened to the voice that wanted me to become the person that I was meant to become. And Dr. Biggett, you mentioned that we need to honor our feelings. And Carol Ann always say, never make your feelings wrong. It's very, very important to actually acknowledge your feelings. And it's very important to honor them, no matter how bad they are. Because when you honor something, you are telling that something that I hear you, I'm aware of you, and I have the authority to keep you or to let you go, to release that feelings, so you can release that feelings. There's a saying that life is what you make it. So you have to learn to play the game of life, no matter how much you go through in life, and embrace it. We have a choice to embrace life. We have a choice to focus on the negative aspects of life and be unhappy, or we can choose to look at the good and see the opportunities that exist through that life. So we get to decide. As a human being myself, I know that I get to decide, and I get to decide if I'm going to embrace life and let negative things go, negative thoughts and feelings that are holding me back. And mostly the negative things that were holding me back is, you know, when you live, like I lived in Africa and then coming here in the United Kingdom, there were things that I look at myself, I'm like, I'm a Black woman, no one is going to listen to me. Even if I wanted to actually do things, no one is going to listen. And I'll start like labeling things, the feelings, I will label them in a very, very negative way. But then there were times where I started to see the world in a more positive light, and I started to see the opportunities and opportunities for growth and success. I was no longer, that moment when I decided to change my mindset, I was no longer looking at, I'm a Black woman and no one is going to listen to me. I was like, now I'm proud of being a Black person, and I'm proud of being African. And I know I'm here in the UK, I'm learning and I'm growing. So those are the things that I embrace. If I come across with the people that are racist, I don't take them very serious, because I know they're messed up. And I know that no one is going to like me. No one is going to want to listen to my message in gossip talk shows. There are people that are going to follow me and listen to the message, but some people won't agree with my message. So those are the things that I'm aware of, and I'm embracing life. I'm embracing this journey of life, and I'm enjoying it, being part of this world and being part of God and being part of the earth, being part of the universe. Honestly, I don't just speak it. In my house, they know that I don't have time for mumbo jumbo. And honestly, my children, they know that I don't really have time, like, for feeling sorry for myself. When they're going through something or something is going on, I teach them to actually focus on their feelings. Why is that is happening? Not why. How can they move forward in order for them to free themselves? I can say motivational word that I want to say to them, but it's never going to help if they don't make that choice of wanting to actually break free. And it's something that I've learned the hard way. We all decide, even when you are in a relationship, you decide how that relationship is going to go. You decide how you're going to play the game. Business-wise, you decide how you are going to play the game with the business. For me, failure is not an option. And even when I fail something, I don't see it as a failure. I just sit down while everybody else is like, so how can you be like this and feeling happy and stuff? I'm like, it's life. I just have to acknowledge that I'm very lucky to have my own life and being breathing. I think breathing for me is more important than problems. And if I'm breathing, good health to me is very important. When problems comes, I know they're not going to last. So I'm not going to let problems just upset me or destroy me, and then tomorrow they will be gone. So I don't do like the feeling sorry club. I used to do it. Honestly, I will go for coffee. Like when I had my oldest one, I would just go for coffee, and you talk about with the friends, like the game where you go out with friends for coffee, you want to hear their problems, they want to listen to you, and they were like, poor you shouldn't have to go through all that. So those are the things that I'm talking from experience. I've gone through it. But then when I was like, one day I was like, I don't have to be like this. I need that Nomsa that is always there, because deep down in our heart, no matter how much we let the feelings and holding us back, deep down in our heart, we know that we could do more. We know that we are in this earth to do more, to contribute more. We know that we are capable of doing amazing things. We are capable of anything. We know it deep down, but do we do it? Do we take action? Embracing life. And sometimes some people don't. For me, it's an agreement that I've made with myself, and I made with God. And I was like, I never want to hold myself back. If things are not working, I sit down and I have to work it out. I have to work it out. And like with the business, I was so frustrated. Like Christmas, I was like looking at my business, and I was like, I'm in a point where I don't want to be. So how do I embrace myself? So I had to contact Cadon and say, listen, guys, I need your help. Teach me sales. So when it's like with the social media, I had to do the training so that when somebody that works for me with my social media, I get to tell them how I want things to be done. Not like controlling them. I get to explain, because sometimes you can hire somebody and they don't know what they are doing. So now I'm learning to be a proper saleswoman with Cadon. Every day I go to the Zoom and I'm learning. I want my business to make money. And in order for me to make money, I need to learn how to be a proper saleswoman. And even though I'm not going to be the one that is doing the sales, then I can say to the salespeople, this is what I need to be done. Can you produce the results? These are the numbers that I expect by the end of the year. Can you produce the results for me? Instead of going there feeling sorry for me, I got to take action. And I know that it's not something that is easy. But once you create the habit, if the audience are watching, I love to hear your thoughts, how you are able to actually embrace this journey of life when you are feeling bad. And also, if anyone is watching, life is a journey. In order for you to have a habit that is carries you to where you need to be, it's a habit that you need to create a bit by bit. It's like a baby when he learns to walk. They don't just get up today and say, I'm going to walk and start walking. They have to learn, they have to fall. So that's how you create your habit. You learn, you fall, you learn, you fall. It's like how I've been... like somebody asked me, what do I do? Nomsa, what do you do? And I tell them, what do I do? And then when I'm with Cadon, when I was with this guy doing the training, he goes, seriously, Nomsa? No. So it's like giving me one word. What do you do? Who do you serve? Who are your clients? You need one word. Don't tell me that your clients are professionally the blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear the blah, blah, blah. Give me one word. everything in one word. And I was like, okay. He was like, yes, your word. So I was like, okay. So now I'm realizing that I am learning things, and there are things that I'm realizing that they're holding me back. When you have the awareness, and sometimes it is hard to admit that, you know what, this thing is changing, is holding me back. Carol Ann, you know that I told you that actually I need to make some changes. And I am making some changes. Me, I don't just talk, I just make some changes. When things are not going well, I have to be honest with myself. And sometimes it hurts. It hurts to actually admit that actually this is holding me back. I have to let this system go and try another system. And it takes courage. So you have that courage.
Absolutely. And I think Howard Schultz sums that up beautifully in this quote. In life, you can blame a lot of people and you can wallow in self-pity, or you can pick yourself up and say, listen, I have to be responsible for myself. And that's what I've been hearing with what you've been saying, Nomsa. You've decided, no, I have to be responsible.
Oh, yeah.
I have to just make, you know, and as you say, you have a choice, but ultimately you have to be responsible for yourself. And you can wallow in that self-pity, but it doesn't get you anywhere. And I remember yesterday I saw this phrase, this quote. It said, the worst, the worst happened, and then it passed. And I was like, it does. You get beyond it. You're able to move beyond it. But it's your attitude, how you manage to get beyond it. Are you going to still thinking, oh God, the worst happened, and I'm, you know, all of that blame, why did it happen to me, rather than it happened and it's gone past. And I remembered one of the worst things, one of my worst nightmares that happened many years ago was actually missing the last tube here in London late at night. I was always got to make sure I'm on that last tube to get home. Well, it happened one day. I didn't plan sufficiently enough. I thought I'd planned and knew what time the last tube was, but I hadn't planned it sufficiently enough, because I got one train which I thought would get me to the next one in time. And I arrived on the platform to hear, last train to West Ruislip has now departed. And I was stood on this platform going, oh my God, I'm right on the east side of London and I need to get right across the other side to the west side of London. And I'm going, I hadn't got any money, my phone barely worked. I didn't have much money on my Oyster card, and it was like, how am I going to get home? It's having a conversation. It's asking for help and support. There was an information button on the side wall that I was able to press and ask for directions. How can I get to Northolt, you know? And although it was hard to understand what the person was saying, I gathered I needed to get a night bus. So I went out the station and I just kept asking bus drivers, which bus do I get on? And although I was given the wrong directions a few times and ended up, you know, getting on different buses that I didn't really need to, I could have stayed in, oh, for God's sake, why is this happening? And and being worried about it, rather than what I suddenly realized was that actually I had enough on my Oyster card, and actually I became present to this amazing network of buses that we have here in London. And I just sat back and I enjoyed the ride. I just started looking at London at night, all the lights and the people. And it just shifted everything. Mm-hmm. And I eventually found the bus that I needed to, got to the stop that I needed to do, got the bus, got home at 3:30 in the morning. that it was, I was able to look at it as an amazing adventure, which then served me later on when there were times when I needed to catch the night bus because I wasn't going to be able to catch the last tube. But it took away that worry of, oh my God, I got to catch the last tube. Didn't matter. So there are things that we can learn from it, and it is about, we have a choice, but ultimately we're responsible for ourselves. What got us into this situation? How can we get out of it? How can we make the best of it and enjoy the journey? Sit back, look at the ride, look at the beauty, look at the amazing things that are unfolding in front of you, and just be grateful. So something else you can do to embrace this journey is actually focus on your small steps of progress. Appreciate being on the way rather than not being at the destination. So once I'd settled into appreciating being on that journey and enjoying and taking in the sights of London as I was going around on these buses and aware of where at certain places there was a lot of hive of activity that I hadn't. So, oh my goodness, this is busy. This is the early hours of the morning, and other places that were quiet. Rather than, oh God, I'm not home yet. Oh no, I'm not home yet. Oh, I'm not home yet. When am I going to get home? I got home when I got home. And I was also very grateful that the night bus that I needed actually terminated where I needed to be. So it didn't matter if I fell asleep because I wouldn't miss my stop. So again, I was like focused on the great that came out of it. And so do shift your focus. Do enjoy the journey and embrace it. What other ways could we embrace our journey? Anyone got any suggestions, Claudia?
I mean, the journey, so often we just want to be at the destination. We have a goal, something where we want to be, what we want to do, and we tend to be as well impatient as well, but patience as well, it's a virtue, and we are here as well to have the learnings and as well the virtues. So it's about the journey, because here is where we get to know about ourselves. This is where the deepest learning happens. It is on the journey, not at the destination, So, and something as well, Dr. Birgit talked about taking charge and responsibility. You, Carol Ann, did mention as well to something similar to, and I like to bring in once more, when things are challenging situations, I don't like the word problems, I use challenging situations. When they come, do we let these outside circumstances, do we let them dictate our power? Do we give our power onto them, or do we take charge as well and cultivate our own personal power to focus on the solutions as well? This is as well like once more good example in regards to taking responsibility as well and not giving our power away. No one takes it. We choose to give it away to people or to circumstances and situations and so on. So this is one tip, and and more positive talk, please, as well for all of us inside, because we are so harsh to ourselves as our inner critic, our self-talk, instead of like being kind to us and talking nicely as well to us about us, just like to be a bit more careful and aware as well. How do we talk to us? Yeah. More loving and kind words, please. Thank you.
I love that. I love what you said, Claudia, and I love what Carol Ann says just now as well. And and quite an interesting experience must be to be missing the tube. And I actually never taken the tube in I'm in Los Angeles, but make me say, oh, I don't know if I want to take the tube. No, just kidding. And so when I was in London, I can't remember, when was that? 2019, wasn't it, Luton Numsa? My hotel was somewhat close to the tube. And
Oh yeah, you were really close to the tube, yeah.
And I was sitting there entertaining about just jumping on the tube just to experience it. And I talking about feeling bad. I didn't feel bad, but I kind of like, you know what? I have limited time, and I'd rather not get in a tangle. But I didn't get to some bus actually. I was surprised because here in Los Angeles, people don't take public transportation by much. So that was interesting experience. But back to not feeling bad and being able to move forward. It's there are a lot of grief system when people having challenge, and I love what you said, Claudia. You didn't call things problem. You call them challenging situation or something. I have even seized the word, using the word challenge or something. It's just a situation. It's just how you want to see it. Some person, it's a beautiful situation. For another person, it might be a challenging situation. The Chinese, the Mandarin character, which I don't know much about Mandarin, but the Mandarin character of so-called problem or disaster, it's actually composed of two characters. In those Mandarin characters, sometimes they have one, sometimes they have two. The Mandarin characters for problems, two characters. One, the first part of the problem, the first half of the two mean disaster. Second half of problem in a Mandarin characters for that is actually opportunity. So is it a problem? Is it a situations of a challenge, or is it a situations of an opportunity? And every opportunity there is, in every challenge, in every situations, there is an opportunity. It's how to embrace that. And one thing, one of my training is from the Grief Recovery Institute. And one thing that I love about the Grief Recovery Institute, unlike many, or actually most, training about most system about grief, as well as the way talk therapy, the Grief Recovery Institute is an action-based system that allow you to move through and beyond your grief. We still don't live through grief or anything, but it's an action-based, maybe because partly it's developed by two gentlemen and not just who are not psychotherapists, but it's an action-based system. What actions can you take? And we have the term of the 1% responsibility. It's you can have things happen in life, and one of our clients has lived in a country where somebody, some gangster came and took and killed her husband and one of her child, and this woman who was pregnant killed the family, raped her, and so forth. And it will be very understandable and very easy to just say, for me. And in that space, in that place where she was, there was no help. There's no government help. What have you? There's basically no rules in that place. That's why this happened. And it could be very easy, but she was able to take the 1% responsibility of say, you know what, all this thing happened. I did not choose any of these to be left pregnant, where there's no resource with a young child, where there's also no resource. My husband and my other child passed away, and all this other thing. Can you even imagine? And she chose to take the 1% responsibility, and the 1% responsibility is, what is the outcome you want from this? How do you want to feel, and what's the outcome, and what action? With us, we use action. What action can you take at this moment to moment? And sometimes that moment could be, the action is I put down the knife so I don't turn it toward myself. Sometimes that's the action. Sometimes the action is something else's, to reach out, to do what you can, what you are able to at the very moment with what you already have. Nowadays, if you're listening to this, if you're able to listen to this, there are plenty of resources out there to allow you to do what it takes to allow you to reach out and stop feeling bad. And actually mentioning about that, I almost forgot. If one of the things that make you feel bad is actually that Valentine's Day is coming up and you're like, there I am. Everybody has Valentine and I'm still single. Then I and Numsa as well, but I will have a complimentary. It wouldn't cost you a thing. It's complimentary workshop on Sunday the 29th, this coming Sunday, where we talk about how to clean your heart. Open your heart such that you'll be able to receive love and a lasting relationship. Nobody can make you do this. You got to choose to take the 1% responsibility. So next year, you're not continuing to feel bad. The next Valentine's, you're not still in a, well, this happened and there it goes. Here I am alone. And just know that if you are feeling bad, feel my support around you. And then you have, as Caroline said, the responsibility. We all have the 1% responsibility. What do you choose in this moment with your responsibility? What action do you choose?
What action do I choose? I choose to take action and go for what I want in life and live the life that I want, knowing that I'm not perfect, but I was created by God who loves me and accepts me for who I am. And if anyone is watching, you just have to go for life. Never feel sorry for yourself. Like what Dr. Bickett has just described, that the woman, what she went through, and when somebody takes away your life, it feels like when somebody, your choices, her choices were taken away from her, but she decided to live the life how she wants to live. And it's not easy, it's not an easy thing, but we have a choice in life of what we could be. And we can decide. I always tell my siblings that you can decide how you want to write your own story when it comes to life. You can decide who you want to become. People will always tell you that you can't do this or you could be this, but what do you believe to be true about yourself? When life hits you with the things that you didn't ask for, when you go to the doctors, they tell you the news that you don't expect, how do you respond? So for me, when life hits me, I'm like, okay, God, you want me to go through this? On my own, I don't think I can do it. But all I ask is hold my hand. Let your blood speak for me, because I can do it on my own. I can't do it on my own. My ways cannot be perfect, but your ways will last me a longer time. So that means that I'm asking for healing. That means when life doesn't make sense, I want God to show me the life that makes sense. I want God to help me to forgive myself, to forgive those around me. So when you're going through something like Dr. Biggett, she's having an event on Sunday. If you are somebody who's been hurt, or you are somebody who believes that there's no women out there who can align with what I'm looking for. The truth is, whatever you're looking for is out there, is looking for you. If you are a good man, a good women are looking for you. If you are a good woman, good men are still there. Good or bad, it's all mixed. So we have to understand that part, that if you have been hurt, that's why that person is not there in your life. And if you are single because it's a choice, yes, that's fine. But if you want to find love and you believe that something is holding me back, get in touch with us at Tungosi Talk Shows, and will help you to find your own voice. Voice is found within. Happiness is found within. Love is found within. When we do meet that special person, we just have to share the love that we found within and embrace the journey of life. That's how I embrace the journey of life. When my spouse comes into my life, when my spouse came into my life, I made a choice that this is who Nomsa is going to be. The real Nomsa. I'm going to smile every single day. If he comes home or to visit me, if I'm on my pajamas that day, if I feel like I want to lay in, I'm not going to put makeup for him. I'm not going to change my dress for him. I'm going to do what Nomsa want to do. I'm still beautiful. So I did that. And he was like, Nomsa, you are not fake, are you? I was like, maybe I used to be that woman that will do this and do this. I'm still beautiful. As I look after myself, I'm still beautiful. I make sure the house is clean, but I just enjoy the ride of life. I just enjoy everything when it comes to life. If I go to the shops and I'm looking for something, if it's not there, I don't sit there and get wound up. I just move on with my life and just move on. Develop myself, and self-growth is very, very important. And Dr. Bigot is here. If you're grieving, you're looking for a grieving coach, Carol Ann is here. If you want to get into writing, and Claudia is here. If you want to become the person that you want to become, we have different coaches so that you can select the person that you want to connect, you feel connected to, you feel like, you know what, I resonate, I actually relate to this person. I want to find out more. Don't just sit there and just be like somebody. Life has no guarantees for tomorrow. So do you have any words of encouragement, Claudia, before we leave?
No, just enjoy it. I mean, just enjoy it, and maybe as well take it with a pinch of humor. Yeah, that helps.
Carol Ann?
I think just with a quote by Helen Keller, self-pity is our worst enemy. And if we yield to it, we can never do anything wise in this world.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bigot. Dr. Bigot, can you hear us?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Nomsa. And I love that. I would say that, as Caroline actually said earlier, so take action. But I usually say take smart actions. If you don't know, like you said earlier, Nomsa, if you don't know what you are doing, you don't like the result of the actions that you've been taking, then ask for help. That's the smart thing to do. So be smart instead of being strong. You can be strong, but if it's not getting you anywhere, be smart. Take the correct actions with the correct support.
Live with grace, everyone. See you tomorrow, and God bless.